Hey, what's up guys? Exciting day today. I'm gonna show you sort of an unboxing. I hate that term. An unboxing of some JDM parts I got from Mr. Yamamoto of RF Racing Factory Yamamoto, Japan. So it's always exciting when you get new parts, especially all the way from Japan. I'll go ahead and unbox it because I think there's kind of some mystery as to what these headers are like. Um, so I'll go through with some calipers and start measuring stuff and show you guys what they're about and why I went ahead and ordered these from him. Sorry, hopefully the sun isn't crazy, but let's do it this way. So I've actually had these for a while, and I got them before, like pre-pandemic era, but it's been so busy I haven't had a chance to really tear into it until now. So hopefully you enjoy and you learn something out of this, and you'll get to see what these headers are all about. I did open the box before, so just to make sure everything was okay with, and wanting to make sure that insurance and all that would cover any damages if there were any. They came through perfectly fine. They were totally packed very well. So thank you, Yamamoto-san, for getting that shipped to me. Sorry it took me so long to basically take it apart. My car is still in the garage, which is why I'm here in the backyard. The garage is super messy. I've got things all over, parts are spread apart. Not quite ready to put everything back together yet. We're still R&Ding parts for that setup. So here we go. All right. Okay guys, as you know, like I said, I've opened this before to check for damages, but I haven't opened it in probably, I don't know, a few months, since before 6 months, I guess, or more, since before the pandemic. So this was shipped to me last year, August 2019. Oh wow, that's exactly a year ago. Holy crap, time flies. From RF Yamamoto, Mr. Yamamoto-san, thank you very much for shipping this to me. Like I said, I've opened this before, but let's show you guys what ships with this. So they ship it with what is this, a new set of extension cables for the O2 sensors, new hardware. So there's there's 3 pairs in there, so 6 total, and new exhausts. That looks like, let's see, that looks like header to muffler gasket. So I'll definitely be using at least the gasket and the hardware. I won't be using the extension cables because I do have those. So let's take a look. All right, how pretty is that, huh? So by the way, these are a set of Science of Speed headers, or cat. I think they're high flows, but I got them for basically testing purposes. I'll talk more about that later, but let's talk about the headers. So this would be the front bank. You can see how nice. Penetration looks good. Welds look really good. This looks like it's one piece here, another piece for this turn, and then another one down here. So these are equal length headers, and I'll measure them later, but let's just go through and see like what makes these things expensive and basically special. So you can see here that to the feel, I know they look a little bit rough maybe from the video because they use kind of a pretty rough die grinder, but to the feel by hand, they're pretty smooth. So no real rough edges as they make the transition from the primaries into the flange. So I think that's excellent. There are very few companies that still do that level of attention on their parts. So I don't know what the port match is going to look like between this flange and the head itself. I think I can dig out a head in the back and just see, but I do expect it to be pretty nice considering. So you can see the differences here. These are designed to be equal length primaries. So this is going to be the same length from the opening into the collector over here. So that's why you get this kind of little bit of hump as they go into a 3-into-1 this way. Okay, let's see here. So that's a standard kind of Honda style ball and socket type of connection, which allows for some movement, which is nice. And let's take a look at the inside. Okay, there's my flashlight. I'm hoping you guys can see this. Let's see. Okay, light works. Okay, I'm just gonna do my best to show you guys here. There we go. There we go. Something like that. Anyway, so what you're looking at there, you can pause it or whatnot, but what you're looking at there is definitely a lot of attention and hand grinded surface areas to make sure that all the transitions are smooth, and you know, you get as little of turbulence, unwanted turbulence as possible, or snags. So as best as I can see in there, all the way through, even this, the inside of this weld, obviously I can't see that, but they look really darn good and really darn smooth. So that's kind of part of what you pay for, honestly. You know, when you're looking at header designs, what happens on the inside is way more important than what it looks like on the outside. So that's kind of the front. Let's see, are there any other things we can call out here? Looks pretty good to me. Okay, let's set this aside. By the way, I have not decided if I want to get these ceramic coated or not. If the word is out, I am already going to be doing a NA all motor build. So a lucky gentleman purchased my supercharger setup a while back, and I actually owe him the Comptic headers that are on the car now, which, thanks for your patience, Greg. Sorry it's taken so darn long. I guess we're all in this pandemic thing together. Okay, so let's take a look at this one. This is the rear bank header set, and the biggest difference here is they're using the press-on spring tension connections on this one. I don't know why they don't use it on the front side, but I don't think I've seen one used on the front side for a very long time. I think the rear has a more drastic kind of set of movement, so they may have found that it's better to use it on the rear. But I like it because it allows for heat expansion, and it allows for always a nice and tight connection. So I always prefer it if a company can do kind of a spring mounted. There's pros and cons, obviously. So it still looks really good. Again, a 3-in-1 design, so that, you know what, ow, let's take a measurement. This will be a really kind of crappy measurement because I could not find my fabric measuring tape, but let's just try. Okay, actually I'll use my other one. So let's go from here. Okay, so guys, again, pardon the ghetto-ness of my measuring abilities here, but let's just call that about 37 and a half until the end of the merge collector for this middle one. So it should be about the same for all of them. Let's see which is the next easier one. Let's do this one. Okay, again, not a perfect science, especially because these are round cylinders, but oh, I just moved it, darn it. Trying really hard not to move this. Sorry you're watching me struggle through this nonsense. There you go. So even with my fumbling, it's still 37, 38, 37 and a half roughly. So that's pretty good. I'm sure they're pretty spot on. So basically equal length headers, front and back. I'm not going to measure the fronts, but those should be equal length as well. So probably the only thing looking at this that I might change in the future is a design that High-Tech, that those guys, I think it's John High-Tech, I'm not sure, but he's a huge like Honda K-Series guy, and he finds power from NAs, from NA motors, like just anywhere. So one of his designs is obviously the entire equal length design, but he actually has like an additional expansion chamber that opens up here kind of in a conical fashion before it goes back into like the main exhaust exit pipe. So what that does, and again, High-Tech gets all the credit for this. I would have probably bought one of their headers if they made them for the NSX, but they don't. But and this is more applicable really on a NA build for force induction header design, and the scavenging effect of it is kind of not really that important. It is, but not really as much. So if you had that expansion chamber here as the pulses fire individually, so let's just make it easy and do 1, 2, and 3, right? So this goes, first one goes boom, and then the second one goes boom, the second one goes boom. So the pulses tend to line up on this end here, so they all line up in sequence as it fires through the end over there, as each of these individually fire. So that's why equal length headers are important. But also, if you have kind of an expansion chamber that, you know, kind of goes out like this, or kind of goes out like that, then what that creates is it creates a low pressure area, which then promotes the scavenging effect for the pulses to want to get sucked out this way. So that low pressure area with the conical shaped section right after the primaries as they merge, or right after the merge as they exit the primaries, is something that I want to try on the NSX. It's a little bit weird because the firing order for the NSX is odd, but it's something that I wanted to try. So maybe I'll do that one day, but I would have to cut like this whole section here and build a whole new piece. Basically build, oops, basically build this whole new back end. So maybe something to do in the next future when there's another pandemic and we have a shit ton more time. So, but anyway, you can see again that the internal treatment was also done here and inside. Actually very nice. And also here, nothing is rough to the feel. And something that I've wanted to check is, what are the diameters of these pipes? So let's see, this is a primary. So I'd say it's about 45. So external OD, or outer diameter, is 45 on the primaries. And here, let's take a look. This is, I'd say about 51 or 50. So that's probably a 50 internal diameter. And it's probably like a 40, 3 or 42 internal diameter. And that's about a good size. You don't want them too big, you don't want them too small. This is going to be an interesting one because here are, let's see, this one would go, I forget which one goes where, but I think this one pairs up with this, like that, I want to say. I'm not sure, I forget if that ends up curving that way or not. I think it does, but this is SOS, and SOS is really pretty good about this kind of stuff too, which is why I like their stuff. This is 50, let's say 51 internal. And so this one, I gotta do it this way. At the smallest section, let's see here at the flange. Oh, 51 too. Yeah, it's pretty much spot on. I'd be curious if the port match is going to be the same. There's no way for me to tell without testing it, but looks pretty darn close, guys. That looks pretty bang on, actually. So I don't know if you're seeing that, but here's an example of when you have pieces together that don't go well. If you, this gentleman who had these before had a pretty big header that went into using this, so you can see that that header was so big, and there's all this soot that was blocking, you know, mismatched as far as the exit of the header into the entry of this high flow cat. So all this is like it's going to create turbulence, it's going to create restriction, and it's not great. And you can see where the soot marks is of the much larger header opening. So they probably had an oversized header going into a small restricted catalytic converter, which then comes out this way. So you don't want any of that. You want to be you want to have the velocity flow as fast as possible, and you want to have that connection. So, you know, it's important to buy like parts where people actually think about this kind of stuff, because as you can see, if you're to install this and not look at it that way, then who the hell knows, right? This one, let's just see. Oh, here's, it's also happening here again. What's even funnier is like it's not even centered the way the soot mark looks. So I don't know if you can see that, but that looks like a ceramic core. So I'm a little worried that I might kind of burn those up. So I don't know, something I've yet to consider on these SOS branded ones. Okay, let's see here. Hoping you guys can see this, but that looks pretty, okay, let's see. That looks pretty spot on too. So I'm really pleased with that. The diameters are the same and it looks pretty spot on. And it might even go this way, I think. Nope, it goes that way. So either way, even if I got these wrong, I'm pretty comfortable that these would work out fine. And okay, hopefully you guys learned something here and got to see. Okay. Got to see what a set of pretty expensive but really well worth headers are. I personally think these are the best ones out right now. Okay, sorry if the noise of the wrapping paper is taking over, but I just want to make sure to get this back. Okay, I have room for you, and I have room for you. Okay, so what do you guys think about that? Pretty cool stuff. I love getting like high quality parts. It just makes it so much worth it, and it makes the hobby kind of adds a whole new dimension to when you can actually think of how these parts all affect each other and how they fit together. So hopefully you guys got some good out of it. Enjoy your day, be safe, everyone take care, be kind. All right, have a good one all.